First thing we can do if we are preparing for a godly man is to become godly women, right? And I was looking up verses on why it's important to be a godly wife, and these two made me laugh. So Proverbs 18:22, he who finds a wife finds what is good and receives favor from the Lord. There's also another verse that says that if a husband is mistreating his wife, then he will not have his prayers answered. So God takes spousal commitment very seriously, number one. And number two, Proverbs 21:19, it is better to live in a desert than with a quarrelsome and nagging wife. So we want to be our men and our spouses helpmates and not somebody that makes him feel like he would rather live in the desert. So that is why we want to make sure that we are becoming godly wives so that we are prepared to be able to meet our godly husbands, right? So we're going to go over Proverbs 31, but I want to talk about it in a little bit of a different way. We're going to read it of more of just like instead of just a list of things that we should be doing, it's like a list of qualities that we need to be pursuing. So Proverbs 31:10 through 31, a wife of noble character who can find, she is worth far more than rubies. So the more we prepare ourselves to be a good wife, the more we seek God, the more value we are to our husband. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. The more that we seek to be like Christ, the more our husband is able to do what he is called to do, and the more that he is able to lead us the way that he is called to lead us. So this is a two-way street. She selects wool and flax and works eagerly with her hands. Some of us are called to have callings that make money. Others of us are called to have a home and to lead that home and to be stay-at-home mothers. But whatever we do, we need to make sure that we are doing it eagerly and not just kind of like, begrudgingly doing it or being lazy, because then there's extra slack that has to be taken up when there are things that we are called to do in a partnership and in a covenant of marriage. So she is like the merchant ships bringing her food from afar. She gets up while it is still night, provides food for her family and portions for her female servants. So she's going to nurture and take care of her family. She's going to take care of her people. There are wives out there that hate cooking, and I understand that this may not necessarily be like, oh my gosh, I have to cook for my family. Let's think of this also as spiritual nourishment. We're going to make sure that our family, our children, our husband, everyone that we're responsible for, and even others we are not responsible for, are fed spiritually, emotionally. We are nurturers by nature. We are meant to nurture and provide nurture for people, okay? So she considers a field and buys it. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. We see a lot of people in the world and on Instagram saying that women are conduits, we are multipliers, we are given things, and then we turn it into something bigger and better. We are given a house, we make it into a home. We are given an egg and a sperm and we make a baby. We are given a baby and we make a family. Like, we are called to take things and turn them into something more because of the grace of God. She sets about her work vigorously, and her arms are strong for her tasks. So again, we want to be determined in what we are doing, convinced and convicted that what we are doing is important. She sees that her trading is profitable. Her lamp does not go out at night. That's oil as well. Like, we make sure that we are seeking God earnestly, that we are seeking wisdom in things that we are doing with our hands and things that we are doing with our families. In her hands, she holds the distaff and grasps the spindle with her fingers. She opens her arms to the poor and extends her hand to the needy. Again, we are nurturing not only our own family, but other people as well. When it snows, she has no fear for her household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet. She makes covering for her bed. She is clothed in fine linen and purple. This is also meaning we are secure in God's ability to take care of us. We're secure for our children. We're secure for ourselves. We've taken care of things that need to be taken care of. We're diligent. We're not letting things slip through the cracks. We are called to manage our household, and we do that well. And again, every marriage is going to look different, but women and men are called to very different roles. We are given different spiritual gifts, and that is is why it is important for us to be able to make sure that we are upholding our end of the bargain so that our husband can uphold the husband end of the bargain as well. Her husband is respected at the city gates, where he takes his seat among the elders of the land. Even when you're mad at your husband, let's not slander his name. I've told my best friend that no matter what goes on in my marriage, I just want her to love my spouse, and I will pick somebody else to vent about that is probably more of like a counselor or a friend that I, use for that kind of information. But I'm not going to just air out my dirty laundry about my husband, and starting those practices now are really beneficial. She makes linen garments and sells them and supplies merchants with sashes. She is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. Again, we are so founded in Jesus that we are able to not worry about the future, to lead our family in peace, to be strong, to make sure that we are carrying ourselves well. She speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. When our husbands or spouses bring us things, we give wise advice. We have full conversations with them. We help make decisions. We are not useless aspects in a household. We are just as important as they are. But we are in a partnership with them, in covenant with them, and we are making sure, again, that we are upholding our end of all of this. She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children arise and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Honor her for all that her hands have done, and let her works bring her praise at the city gate. So that honestly is really encouraging to me. That when you look at that and you hear people say that God doesn't value women and that he doesn't love women as much as he loves men, and he favors men and gives men callings, you read that and you're like, no. She was an entrepreneur. She had a calling. She managed her household. She was a valuable asset in a marriage. She would if her job was not being done, her family would miss that being taken care of. When we read Proverbs 31, it is to be encouraged that we have a valuable role in a household, and we are an important aspect of marriage. So when we are going to God and saying, God, make me into a godly wife, it is so that when God brings our spouse or gives us insight on who our spouse is, we are able to take everything that God has made us and marry that literally with who God has made our spouse, so that we can pursue the kingdom of God together. And that is why we need to be so confident in who we are as women and who God has created us to be. We do not need to just turn ourselves into whatever our husbands want. I used to do that all the time. I would date a guy and I would be so insecure in myself that I would just become whatever I thought he needed or whatever I thought he wanted. But my husband, who God brings me, is going to see who I am and see value in who I already am as a woman of God. And his character and his desires and his calling is going to play in part with mine. We're not going to clash. We're not going to butt heads. We're not going to be doing two separate things. In the book, Single, Dating, Engaged, Married by Ben Stewart, he talks about how a godly marriage is founded on a lot of different things, but the dating and the figuring out if you guys are meant to be together part is so that you're not going to start off in Texas and one person's going to walk towards Florida and one person's going to walk towards California, and you're just going to be pulling each other in opposite directions. When you are who you're called to be, and your spouse or whoever you're dating is who they're called to be, you still have to ask God, are we meant to be together, so that even two godly people aren't trying to walk in opposite directions. When you become married, when you are in covenant with somebody, you have to walk the same direction for the rest of your life. So somebody's got to give and take, somebody's got to release what they thought in one area, or you have to be so unified towards a purpose and a call that you're able to walk together towards all of this. I know that my calling is going to, like I said at the beginning of the video, turn some men off, and that's okay. Not everybody's going to want somebody that has a social presence, that wants to be a content creator. Not everybody's going to want a wife that's an evangelist and wants to write books and all of that kind of stuff, and that's totally fine. But I'm also not going to seek out a man with an arbitrary list and like just pretend that everything's going to be okay just because he's a man of God. I am going to pray and ask God, is this somebody that will allow me to further invest myself in the kingdom instead of drawing me away from what you've called me to do? Am I equipped to be able to do what I need to do in order to support my husband's calling, what you have created and designed him to do? Is our union going to make us both better at what you've called us to do instead of taking away that? I do not want to ever step into a relationship again where instead of both of us 100% being able to be with God, we get together and we're only able to do 70% of what we were already doing. I want what we are doing separately to be multiplied when we come together. So that is what I'm seeking in a spouse. That is what I'm seeking in a husband, in a partner, in a father for my children. And I also want to point out that's why I'm focusing so much on being a good woman of God, because my spouse has a calling too. And I want to be able to make sure that I am everything that I need to be on my side of marriage and my side of the covenant for us to both be able to do what we are called to do by Christ.